Trailblazers, innovators, champions, role models, heroes. They are the titans of winter sport. Decorated athletes who dominated, pioneers who opened doors for countless women. They inspired Canadians across the country and demonstrated the true power of sport. Women of courage and character who overcame the odds and adversity to showcase ability and possibility. They exemplify athletic excellence on snow and ice. Snow and ice define Aklavik, a harsh winterland north of the Arctic Circle. From this cold, dark tundra came two of Canada's most resilient athletes, Sharon and Shirley Firth, Northern Lights who would become shining stars. Raised in a traditional native family, the Firth girls learned at a young age to trap and hunt. Bush life nurtured their competitive spirit. They raced to find the best spots for trapping. To play was to compete. At age 13, they joined the Territorial Experimental Ski Training Program. By 15, they were competing internationally. Winning a berth on the national team meant leaving home. In Banff, the twins trained relentlessly, supporting and pushing one another in preparation for their Olympic debut in Sapporo in 1972. By then, their influence was already evident. 7 of the 9 athletes on the Canadian Nordic team were from the Mackenzie Delta. Sharon and Shirley Firth were with the national team for an unprecedented 17 years. They raced in 4 straight Olympic Games and 4 World Ski Championships. They dominated Canadian women's cross-country skiing for 2 decades, breaking barriers and blazing a trail for others to follow. Sonia Godet is a leader, motivator, and innovator. She's also the world's most decorated wheelchair curler. In 1997, Godet was paralyzed from the chest down in a horseback riding accident. The avid athlete quickly challenged herself and began educating others about the benefits of sport. Inspired by Rick Hansen, Godet pursued adaptive sporting opportunities. She was introduced to wheelchair curling by chance at her local club in Vernon, BC. Godet was convinced to participate in a beginner clinic and soon became a force in the sport. She played lead for Canada's gold medal winning wheelchair curling teams at the 2006, 2010, and 2014 Paralympic Winter Games, and is a 3-time world champion. Godet has thrown first stones in a sporting career full of firsts. She uses her experiences to inspire people of all ages and abilities, helping them overcome challenges and discover new possibilities. Danielle Goyette has been called the Gordie Howe of women's hockey. She was a gifted scorer and inspirational leader who dominated her sport into her 40s. The pride of Saint-Nazaire, Quebec, started skating at age 4. She learned to play hockey by watching the Montreal Canadiens on TV every Saturday night. She would take her skates and stick outside after the game and try to mimic the moves. A snowball was her puck, but she wouldn't find a female hockey team to play on until she was 15. Her skill and determination set her apart and made her a star of Canada's national women's hockey team from 1991 to 2007. She's one of the most decorated hockey players in Canadian history and an ambassador for the sport. Goyette has played a fundamental role in growing women's hockey in Canada and around the world.
Danielle Goyette.
She continues to leave her mark on the next generation as coach and teacher. Goyette was inducted into Canada's Sports Hall of Fame in 2015 and the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2017. Nancy Greene started skiing when she was 3 and hasn't stopped. She captured Olympic gold, World Cup championships, and the hearts of millions of Canadians. Greene was raised in Rossland, British Columbia, and began competitive skiing in high school. She was just 16 when she raced in her first Winter Olympics in 1960. She watched roommate and fellow Canadian Anne Hegveit win gold in the slalom, and vowed she would one day win her own Olympic gold medal. Nicknamed Tiger, Greene was ferocious on the slopes. Her illustrious 9-year racing career included gold in the giant slalom and silver in the slalom at the 1968 Winter Olympics in Grenoble, France. She also dominated on the new World Cup circuit, before retiring from amateur skiing at age 24 at the summit of her career. But she has spent decades building the sport in Canada and around the world, and inspiring generations of world-class Canadian skiers. Named Canada's Female Athlete of the 20th Century, Greene remains a role model on and off the ski hill, promoting the value of sport, hard work, and seizing life's opportunities. She's a champion who has left an impressive legacy on winter sport in Canada. Clara Hughes is a competitor and humanitarian. Her athleticism and philanthropy have inspired legions. A champion whose smile is as iconic as her sporting accomplishments. Hughes was inspired as a 16-year-old watching Gaëtan Boucher race on TV at the 1988 Calgary Winter Olympics. She dreamt of one day being an Olympian and would eventually race her way into the Olympic record books. In cycling, then long-track speed skating, her first love. Hughes is the only athlete in history to win multiple medals at both the Summer and Winter Olympics. That's lofty status, but the Winnipeg-born Hughes remains grounded. She champions mental health initiatives across Canada and promotes sport and play programs for youth around the world. A humble athlete with an enormous heart, Hughes is part of Canada's sports pantheon, taking her place among our country's greatest champions of winter sport.